I feel like there's one animation movie studio that defines my childhood, and that's Pixar. Pixar has created some of the most iconic animated movies ever, but even with all their success, there has to be a couple blunders in there. So today, I'm going to be showing you the best and worst decade of Pixar, in my opinion. And how this list is going to work, I'm going to be going through each decade one by one and determining my thoughts on them. Then at the end, I will do a best to worst decade. So, let's get started with the first decade, the 90s. Pixar's first movie, Toy Story, released in 1995. And wow, did Pixar start off strong. Toy Story is one of the best animated movies in my opinion, hands down. Not number one, but it's up there. Toy Story is such a creative idea and it's executed well. Woody and Buzz have a pretty good rivalry during the movie, and I love how they become friends at the end, so that's nice. Also, it was really funny movie as well, and the animation is cool. So far, Pixar is off to a great start. Let's see if they can keep this going. Their next movie was A Bug's Life, which premiered in 1998. It's a mediocre movie, in my opinion. It's not a bad movie, but it's not necessarily a good movie either. I don't really have many strong opinions on it. I don't watch this one quite a lot. The last movie that released in this decade was Toy Story 2, and this was the well-awaited sequel to Toy Story. Again, it's really funny and has a good animation style. I think the story here is better than the original Toy Story in my opinion. In fact, I would say this movie is on par with Toy Story. It's just that good. So yeah, the 90s have had some pretty iconic movies with the first two Toy Stories. A Bug's Life was mediocre, but that doesn't take away the love and appreciation I have for Toy Story 1 and 2. So this decade was pretty good. Only three movies. I mean, they started in 1995. But the three movies they had weren't bad at all. A Bug's Life wasn't like that good. But once again, the two Toy Stories were really, really good. So we're off to a great start, Pixar. The 2000s was quite the interesting decade, if you asked me. The first movie they released this decade in 2001 was Monsters, Inc., and it was phenomenal. One of the best Pixar movies. It's on par with Toy Story and Toy Story 2. It's amazing. I love Mike and Sully bouncing off each other, and I like the idea. Also, the soundtrack on the theme song hits. Now, in 2003, they released another movie called Finding Nemo. It was a pretty good movie. It was just good in general. Like, it's the worst this decade has to offer, but it's not even bad. It's not even mediocre either. I like how Marlin is trying to find his son Nemo, and I like the little adventure that Marlin and Dory have together. Also, the environment is pretty cool. The next movie they released back in 2004 was The Incredibles, another fantastic movie by Pixar, one of the best again, along with Monsters, Inc. and Toy Story. This movie had a lot of funny jokes and has a good concept. Also, I love Syndrome, the villain. He has so many funny moments. Overall, this movie's a blast and I recommend you check this one out as well. Next in 2006 was Cars. Cars is a pretty good movie. I don't really have much complaints about it. It's a pretty dull story, but I like Lightning McQueen and I like how we got to Radiator Springs. Also, this movie introduced one of my favorite Disney songs, Life is a Highway, so I can give it props. Ratatouille is the next movie, which released in 2007. This is the best Pixar movie, period. Every time I look at this food, my mouth waters. It always makes me hungry, and I love it for that. It looks so good. Also, the characters in the French environment are really awesome, too. If I hire Remy as my chef, I feel like I make a good decision. He just cooks such amazing food, even though he's a rat. In 2008, they released another movie called Wall-E. Again, another banger. Wall-E is one of the best Pixar movies out there, and it's for good reason. It has such a good story between Wall-E and Eve, and the connection is really strong. Also, this movie has really funny moments as well. The last movie they released this decade was Up. Once again, another fantastic movie. The first 15 minutes of this movie are so emotional. The first time I watched it, I literally bawled my eyes out. The other minutes of this movie are pretty good too. I liked meeting Doug and Russell the kid. Also, the characters got some solid development in this movie. Loved Carl. It's safe to say that the 2000s are in the route for the best era so far. They had bangers back to back to back. Even the worst movie of this decade, Finding Nemo, is still kind of good. So, this decade was peak Pixar. It's probably going to be the best decade by the end of this video, but I can't assume anything yet. But this decade is en route to be the best. Toy Story 3 starts off this decade, coming out in 2010. This should have been the ending to the Toy Story saga. Almost 90% of the internet agrees with that. This is the perfect ending to Toy Story. It's also pretty funny and has a good villain, I guess, although I could beat the bear easily. Pixar then released a movie in 2011, which I think is the first bad Pixar movie, Cars 2. This movie is just extremely boring in my opinion. I think the story doesn't really fit Cars that well. Also, it's not that funny either. I just don't really like some of the characters in this movie, and it just was not a pleasant experience overall. This is the first bad Pixar movie. The next movie is Brave, and while this movie is significantly better than Cars 2, it's not by much. It's still extremely boring, and I was just waiting for the movie to end. That's really all my thoughts on this movie. Next movie is Monsters University in 2013, and I don't have a lot of knowledge of this movie except for the fact that it's a Monsters Inc. sequel, but I don't think I've ever watched this one before. I think I've seen a clip of it, but that's really about it. The next movie, Inside Out, is definitely a highlight in this decade. It has pretty good characters, and the concept is definitely executed well. I also like Bing Bong. Who's your friend who likes to play Bing Bong, his rocket makes you yell, hooray, Bing Bong. Now here comes The Good Dinosaur in the same year, 2015. And this movie is another drop-off for Pixar. It's kind of bad. This one does get a lot of criticism online. I don't hate it as much as other people do, but there are definitely criticisms that still stand. Extremely boring and isn't really that funny. Also, the visuals are good, but it doesn't really make up for the rest of the movie. But they're good visuals, so I can give it props. The next movie, 2016, Finding Dory. It was an okay sequel. Don't have many strong opinions on it. I guess this movie answered questions about Dory's past. I don't know. After that, Cars got its third installment with Cars 3, and it was definitely better than Cars 2, but definitely not better than Cars 1. It's kind of in the middle. It does have some bad stuff about it, but it has some good stuff about it too. I don't want to go into further detail since I don't really want to spoil the movie for you, but it's just okay. The next movie, Coco, in 2017, is probably the best movie of this decade and probably one of the best movies of Pixar. It's just so pleasant to have on screen. It has great characters, it has a cool plot twist, but I can't tell you that. And I just love the characters. Miguel and the other characters, his family. Also, the ending is one of the most emotional yet so good endings to a Pixar movie. Probably the best Pixar ending. So yeah, this movie was a blast from start to finish, and I loved it. You should check this one out. There are two more movies from this decade that released both in 2018 and 2019. Incredibles 2 and Toy Story 4. Incredibles 2 was good, but it's definitely not as strong as the first Incredibles. And Toy Story 4, no, just no. I like Forky, and I guess I like the visuals, but that's really about all I can say about this movie. It was just kind of a bad movie. Wasn't necessary at all. So I know following up the 2000s was hard, but the 2010s might be worse than the 90s. With the 90s, it only had one mediocre movie, but this one has three. And the only good movies in the 2010s are Toy Story 3, Incredibles 2, Coco, and Inside Out. That's it. and the rest are either just okay or pretty bad. This was definitely a low point for Pixar. It spawned some movies that I thought were just flat out bad. So yeah, the 2010s is en route to be the worst decade. But let's see if the 2010s can top that. The first movie that released in this decade was Onward in 2020. It was okay. I mean, it's better than Brave, Good Dinosaur, and Cars 2, but I think it's just kind of boring still. Don't have much to say about this movie, it's just bland. The next movie was Soul in 2021, and it is so mature, and that's what I love about it. This movie was definitely a step up from Onward. It's like a high A tier movie. The only reason why it's not S tier, it's because it's not that funny. But still, it's a really good movie, and I think it's what this decade needed. Luca is the next movie, and this movie was a straight to Disney Plus movie. And I think I remember it came out in theaters one time. And all the plot is these dudes wanting money to buy a Vespa. That's it. And I love it for that. It's also just a really charming and funny movie. And it's a good slice of life movie as well. One of the best movies of the decade. They released another movie in 2022 named Turning Red. Again, it was a straight to Disney Plus film, and it was decent. It had a couple funny jokes, and I liked the concept of the movie a lot. I think it was executed pretty good, but like not to its full potential. It's just a decent movie overall. So far, this decade is looking pretty good. Oh, no. Did we have to end the streak here? Lightyear is a movie that sucks. This is my least favorite Pixar movie of all time. It's trash. I have nothing else to say. It's just trash. Next movie is Elemental from 2023. It was pretty good. I don't really have any strong opinions on it. It's just a really cool concept in general. It has some really funny moments. Also, the scene catches me off guard every time. There's only two more movies left of this decade. The first one is Inside Out 2 from 2024 last summer. And it was a better than Inside Out in my opinion, the first one. I love the new emotion, Anxiety, and it was just a really funny movie too. Really cool seeing the ending scene as well. And to finish this decade up for now is Elio. It was good, not much else to say. I like the concept and I like Gordon. This decade contains the worst movie of Pixar. I feel like that really brings this decade down. It also has Onward, which is just okay. Does the good make up for it though? I don't know. Honestly, it's a tie between 2010s and 2020s for the worst. But I think I've made my decision. But first, let's announce Pixar's best decade, and that is, drumroll, the 2000s. The 2000s was just really consistent and good movies, and I don't think they've had a bad movie. But now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the worst decade of Pixar. Drumroll again. It is the 2010s. I feel like this decade had more bad movies than 2020s, even if the 2020s had Lightyear, my personal least favorite Pixar movie. Anyways, guys, I had a lot of fun on this video, and what's your opinion on the best and worst decade of Pixar? Do you think the 2000s is the best? Or do you think the 2010s is the best, or the 2020s, 90s? Let me know in the comments. Anyways, guys, that's all for this video. I'll see you in the next one.